Happy 4th of July, everybody. Happy 4th of July to all you guys in the U.S. Now, if you guys are somewhere else, then I guess a happy Friday. In today's video, I actually was going to do a Scooby-Doo review, and I was going to do, not just a Scooby-Doo review, but also a Mario episode review. But those are going to have to wait, because I don't have my other phone right now. I couldn't find it. I actually need to make a video about that. I'm kind of getting behind on videos here. I have so many that I need to upload. I've been just so busy. So I gotta catch those up. I actually have another video I made with, McDonald's and other stuff, showing off them on Google Maps. But I think I'll probably save those, because I want to, take breaks in between for you guys, just because. That'll be, that we guys can get a break from some of these videos, and I can as well. Also, I guess, if you guys want, can you please, subscribe to my channel? I'm trying to get to 1K subs. Make sure you guys are still subscribed to, the platform, because sometimes I've been noticing, people have been, well, some people might be unsubscribing by losing interest, but I've been noticing other people have been having problems too, so. But, it doesn't bother me. Maybe some people don't like my content, but I know that has been happening to other people, so, yeah. Also, you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and all that, and, I think that's pretty much about it. So in today's video, I decided I was going to do this one later this month, but I guess I'll be doing it now. I wanted to go through every, U.S. president here and talk about, so every U.S. president here, I want to talk about some history about them. Not necessarily, their politics or their handling of the country, but more so their photographs and recordings and voices. Yeah. So there's a lot of presidents here, and unfortunately not all of them were able to be photographed or videoed. So I figured, as you guys can see here, you guys can see a bunch of these photos. There's photos of these, presidents here. However, not all of them, have got photos here, and then you obviously can't see videos here. So I figure I can, fill in some stuff here and all that, and maybe some speculations and some stuff, for you guys. So I guess first we'll start with the typical, the pictures, because we got the pictures and all that. Unfortunately though, here's the problem with the pictures. So the pictures, though, what happened is the presidents here, the presidents actually, most of them were able to be photographed, but some of them we can see, like George Washington and all that, was not able to be, photographed because, well, there wasn't film at the time, to take pictures. However, that's the thing, though. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It was an accident. I was gonna say, that's the thing, though. Sorry if it's very weird on here. It's kind of hard to do the photo stuff on this phone compared to the other ones. I'm just doing it like this. But I was gonna say here, for the photos, and all that, I think pretty much possible that maybe every single president probably has had at least a photo taken, maybe. Because I was reading that apparently the earliest photo is, I think it's 1816 or something like that, and I believe Thomas Jefferson and I don't remember the other person's name. There's a lot of presidents. Heck, I'm in the U.S. and I can't keep up with all the presidents' names. I do watch this channel called Mr. Beat who talks about it, but I kind of forgot about some of them. But they'd actually apparently, according to him, they apparently died the same day. So that's kind of crazy. They both died the same day. But I think they died after photographs were already taken. So it may be possible they might have photographs of them. However, the problem is, though, is it's it was very early on in photos and all that, so they weren't as big. But they did die, I think, a few years later, so it's possible that maybe people traveled across the country and all that, because over time we get photographs of other presidents here. But there are some rumors that some of them have actually had presidents, or that, actually have, well, not presidents, some of them actually have photos here. There are rumors about that. Like the ninth president there, people are saying that's fake. And I don't know, that might be a fake photo. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, it kind of looks fake. It's kind of colored and all that. But that's the thing, though, is, yeah, I don't know, it kind of does look fake. I don't know. But that's the thing, though, you can kind of tell, but I've heard stories about that they've actually have found photos of them. Unfortunately, they were lost over time. So that's the thing, though, there could be photos of pretty much every president. That's the thing, though, because the president was very popular. But like I said, George Washington, unfortunately, will have no photos. He would actually have no photos, except for his paintings and all. He would have no photos, no recordings or anything, because he would have passed away before that was even happened. And unfortunately, though, here's the thing. Unfortunately for the presidents here, a good chunk of them right here, we're going to go ahead and move on to the recording stuff here. First up, we'll talk about the sound, because I feel like the sound is the first part here. So the sound is actually very interesting. So apparently, according to, what people are saying is the earliest recording sound there is 1960. Not 1960, sorry, I mean 1860. I can't speak, I'm sorry. 1860 would be the first, the first one to have it. And the thing is, though, is, at that time, Lincoln was, I think he was about, he was about to become the president in a few years or so. So he was going to become the next president of the United States. But he was actually one of the earlier ones to actually pass away, because Lincoln was sadly assassinated. The thing is, though, if he didn't get assassinated, there probably would be recorded, footage of him or something, because he wasn't very old when he died. He was like, he was older, but he wasn't that old. He was like in his 50s, which is kind of old around that time, but like, not like super old, compared to the other presidents. But it is possible that there could be recorded voice clips of him too. It's possible. But the thing is, though, is he wasn't in office, I think, super long enough. So it's possible there isn't any recorded footage of that, Same with, like, James Garfield. James Garfield is another one that was assassinated very early on in his career. And actually, unlike Lincoln, he was actually only in there apparently for a couple months, according to Mr. Beat, who, studies the presidents and all that. Which I know technically, I think he's technically considered a Democrat, but I don't really care. I still enjoy watching some of his president stuff, but, yeah, he did mention that apparently James Garfield was, assassinated a few months after he was in office. So he wasn't in office very long, so I don't know if there would have been any recorded footage of it. There might be, because he would have done his speeches and all that. So, I don't know, but the thing is, though, is the recorded sound was the thing at the time. And then afterwards, we got video, stuff too, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure, I might have to look back at this. Hang on a second. I'm gonna try to see, like, when when the first president would have been around that would have had the recording stuff. Okay, so it's President Hayes that was the one that would have been around when when they started recording stuff. And actually, ironically, that I think it was the recording of his voice they found. So that's the thing, though. So that would have been, unfortunately, a lot of presidents would have been gone by the time film was made. But the thing is, though, they say the oldest surviving film, which came out in 1888, is the oldest one that survived. So it's possible there could be some before that, And some may be lost, but some could still be found. It's hard to say, but yeah, that would be, so that, yeah, unfortunately, that means that President Hayes would be the first one to actually, I think, have, like, his recordings and all that in there, so, that's pretty crazy, though, but the other presidents probably could have, too. I just don't know if Lincoln or James Garfield would have that, because I said Lincoln got assassinated, like, I think he was in office not super long, but longer than Hayes, but Hayes definitely wasn't in there very long, but they could have recorded his speech with, like, special equipment, but I don't know if they did or not, that's the thing, I mean, it's hard to say. That said, though, it's kind of hard to say there. But the thing is, though, is, yeah, because I'm the very first president and all that, with the whole voice thing on, we would eventually get, I think it's actually the next president that actually got, after Hayes, I believe it was, like, he was the one who got, a video of, him in the house and all that. I'm gonna check that, too. Sorry, it was President Cleveland that actually had the first recording, which was the 22nd president. That's the thing, though. Even though he was the 22nd president, there were still some that survived afterwards, too. Because you see, he was born in 1837, So, again, it's possible there are other recordings, too. And all that. And then we have, hang on, the others. I'm trying to remember who it was. That's not President Roosevelt, sorry. It's the one after this that I was going to say. This is here. I always forget this name. His name's William McKinley. The 25th president. That's the one that actually got his first recording. You see, that's his first recording there. That's the first actual recording of a speech that's around right now. Again, there could be others, but I probably doubt it. I don't know, it looks like you can't really hear much of the background. You can hear him speaking, but not the backgrounds.
I believe that the majority of the plain people of the United States will, day in and day out, make fewer mistakes in governing.
But, yeah, I don't know. But that's the thing, though, too. It's just like, I figured, that's the thing, though. That's why I'm sharing this kind of with you guys, some history and all that. But a history of what survived and what we have and maybe what we might find in the future, But as for right now, yeah, that'd be the first recording of it. And then we have, we'll have the first, I'm trying to find the actual first, colored on it. It's pretty far off.
In the interest of world peace and human betterment.
I'm pretty sure I've seen him in color. I think he's the first president, I believe, to have color.
Into an important strategic base.
And then John F. Kennedy, yeah, that was definitely in color. I think it was the last one that was in color. We'll see.
And destroyed its usefulness to the enemy. It will support the new administration in every.
You see, he died like in 1964, so it's possible he probably has. A lot of these might even have color photos too. It's crazy. He ain't gonna have any. He died too far. He would have died too early on. Maybe there was color. I think there was color back then, but like very rare. And he would have been the president at the time, so. Now this one could have color.
I want them to have the rewards of their own investment. It will support the new administration.
But this one, I would say, I think Herbert Hoover, I think would be actually the first one to actually probably have color in his photos or videos, I mean, the quality still wouldn't look great, but that's the thing, too. With today's technology, you can actually probably make it look better and cleaner, but with the problem is with color, in black and white, a lot of times it doesn't always look the greatest. I mean, I've seen some apps do it, but I even seen some people redo some of the president stuff and all that. It still doesn't look great, compared to an actual photo. I don't think it's ever going to. I mean, that's you can kind of tell a little bit, like, if it's AI or not, but. But, yeah, I don't know, it's still kind of crazy, though. That is crazy, though, that's the case, though, but. But yeah, I figured I'd just share you guys this stuff just because. I don't know if there's anything else I can think of that. But that's pretty much the history there. That's the history though, but pretty much every president has had at least a photograph. Some of the earlier ones, it's possible they've had photographs, except George Washington, because again, he wouldn't have had one because there was no cameras around that time. But it's possible they had, like, photographs around that time, So maybe they got pictures of it and all that. And then, like I said, the colored stuff, like, at that time, they probably wouldn't have colored, photos or anything of them, because it was early on. But, I mean, they could still probably have some colored, like, video and all that, too. And even recorded voice lines. I see all those phony ones of Abraham Lincoln, on YouTube that are totally fake. You would be able to tell if it's real or not, with Abraham Lincoln. But like I said, it could be possible there could be, that. And I believe he was the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. I think Mr. Beat said it was the 7th president. I'm gonna check that out real quick before I let the video go. Hey. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so I guess Lincoln would have been. It took me a little while to actually look that up. I was trying to figure out what was going on there, but yeah. So I guess Lincoln would have been the 13th president to die. So there actually were 13 that died before that. So if there was a recording, of his voice, it still would have been like 12 presidents not to have it, which is really crazy, but. But it is still kind of cool to see, how history has evolved and all that, And if anything, ever changes down the road, I can always do an update video on this for you guys. But I figured I'd talk about some history and all that, on some video and footage and, all that for, like, what people have found. And, things that could still be out there somewhere, like I said, there could be videos of, or recordings of, like, Lincoln's voice and all that, other presidents too, I don't know, or, like I said, photos or something, I don't know. But, anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and let things go from here. Hope you guys enjoyed this little 4th of July video. Bye-bye.